what's up? My name's Samuel Leeds. I'm a property investor. It's Sunday. It's 7 p.m. You know what that means. That means that I'm going to be answering your property investment questions. So do me a favor. Help me out. Comment below with your property investment questions. Any question that you have, it's not too stupid. It's not too complex. Just comment below, and then I'm going to do my very best to answer your questions. Also, do me a massive favor and smash the like button. Also, subscribe below, turn the notification bell on, because how disappointing would it be if I answer your question next week and then you don't even know because you didn't get notified of me doing a new video. So subscribe, turn the bell on, and let's get started. So last week we had a whole bunch of questions about property, some real good questions. So one guy called Jack said, I'm looking to get into property. Before I do my first deal, should I create a limited company or do it under my personal name? So Jack, what I'll say is there are tax advantages to buying through a limited company. Namely, Section 24 doesn't apply, so you can claim your mortgage payments as tax deductible. Also, you can pay yourself as you grow your portfolio. You can pay yourself a salary, and then like a small salary of £11,000, which is tax free, and then the rest up to about £40,000 you're going to take out as a dividend, where you're only going to pay 7.5%. So listen, I'm not a tax advisor, so check with an accountant, but I would say it's much more tax efficient to buy it through a limited company. Does that mean that you need to go tomorrow and set up a limited company? No, it doesn't. Do you know what you need to do tomorrow, Jack? You need to go and find a deal. Because if you go and find a deal and you put an offer on and the offer's accepted, you can then set up a limited company. It takes like 24 hours to set up a limited company. So don't worry about tax. Don't worry about your business cards. Don't worry about your company name. Worry about finding property deals. Paul McAndrew. Me and my wife are 21, looking to get on the property ladder as soon as possible. We've got £5,000 saved at the moment. What would you recommend to get on the ladder fast? Paul, what I'd say is I wouldn't worry about getting on the ladder fast, because it's not about being on the property ladder that means you've achieved anything great. What's great is when you can achieve an income coming in, a passive income. And for sure, property is a great way to achieve a passive income. But I wouldn't be thinking, I need to get on the ladder. I need to get on the ladder. Lots of people are on the ladder and they're in the rat race. And they get a mortgage and then they just have to pay the mortgage and it's more expensive. So make sure that when you do buy a property, make sure that it's an investment. Make sure that it's putting money in your pocket every single month. If you've got £5,000, that's great. Good for you. That's a good start. I would work on trying to think how you can create more cash flow and how you can do that now. You don't necessarily need to be on the ladder to start making cash flow. You know, you could do rent to rents, you could do deal sourcing. There's lots of things you could do. But you know, I'm glad to see that you're excited to get in property. But what I wouldn't do is go and get a help to buy scheme, move into a new build house just to be like, yes, this is our home and we own it. Because it's not about who owns their home. It's about who's got the most wealth and who's got the most monthly cash flow coming in, so that you can have a life of freedom. Okay, hope that helps. Tiago Silva, I agree with your comms with WolverhamptonCC. I don't know what that means. I did the same this year, emailed BrumCC, maybe City Council, and they asked me to prove I was refurbishing the property according with HMO policies, even though I was not able to meet the deadline. I got quotes from vendors just to cover as COVID came in, and then we got the property on time. Sadly, HMO mortgage did not go ahead. I think we had to give up. I think we had to give up? You don't need to give up, okay? It sounds to me, I think I understand what you're saying a little bit, Tiago, and it sounds like you've had a little bit of pain, a little bit of a headache with the councils and getting a HMO mortgage. And, you know, can I just say, number one, that is completely normal. You are not alone. Just because it was hard and you had a headache doesn't mean that you should quit. That is standard in property. Second thing is, get around good people. Why learn from your own mistakes when you can get around people that are 6 months ahead and you can learn from their mistakes? So, you know, get back on the horse, get around good people. I hope to see you at the Property Investors Crash Course, you know, where there's going to be hundreds of property investors in the room that are all supporting one another, getting the knowledge, but don't give up, because that is what happens in this game. Discipline your disappointment as much as celebrating your success. Louis Smith, can you please go through every way to buy a property, how to refinance, and how to buy development land. Thanks. Wow, every way. Okay, you want to know, basically what you've just said is, tell me everything there is to know about property ever in one comment on a Q&A Sunday. So I'll do my best. I mean, every way. Look, there's so many ways to buy property. How to refinance and how to, you want to talk about development. There's lots of different ways, but there's 3 figures you need to look at. You need to look at how much you're buying the house for, purchase price. Don't get mixed up between the market value and the asking price. They're 2 very different things. So you want to buy the property as cheap as possible using negotiation ninja techniques that I teach. You then want to do the property up. Find a property with a problem that you can fix. And you want to fix that problem. Every time you spend £1 fixing it, you need to be adding £3 of aid to the house. And then know what the end value is going to be. Speak to valuers, speak to independent estate agents, do your comparables. But you can push the value up so many ways. You can turn a property into a HMO. You can make it mortgageable when it was unmortgageable. You can buy a property for cash flow and you can rent it out room by room, or you can rent it out as serviced accommodation on short stay lets. So you haven't got to deal with tenants and you've got high cash flow and there's tax advantages. Geez, if you haven't got any money, you can rent a property off somebody who doesn't know what they're doing very well, an amateur landlord, or someone that does know what they're doing but they're just tired or they don't want the hassle. And then you can give them a guaranteed rent and you can split it up and rent it on as a super rent and keep the monthly cash flow. Like, there's just so much. But what I will say is the pie is so big. And when there's a big pie, you can slice it up in different ways. And there's enough money in the game for everybody. For the investor, the developer, the landlord, the manager, the sourcer. Depends on which side of the coin you lie on and what your skills are. So, Louis, I wish you all the best. And again, hope to see you at the Property Investors Crash Course. Bertie Evans, can you please address your thoughts on the average age people buy their first house in the UK, which is 34? I'm 15. I want to get into property as soon as I can when I'm 18. Is this possible? Yes, Bertie. I bought my first house age 17. However, it wasn't a home that I lived in. It was an investment that I rented out. I did it using none of my own money. It was a creative strategy that I used. My thoughts about the average age being 34 are that I think it's woeful. I think it's a disgrace. I think that they're pushing back and back and back the age of everything. They're pushing back the age of adolescence. I mean, I speak to my granddad and it was like, he was working at 13, 14. Now it's, oh no, you're a teenager. And now adolescent, what is adolescence? Now there's so many, I'm 29. There's people, I've got 2 kids, a third kid on the way. I'm married, I've been married now 6 years. Live in a nice big house. I've got lots and lots of people that work for me. I'm 29. I know people that I went to school with that are living with their parents that are playing PlayStation. It's an embarrassment, to be honest. And I'm not bragging about my wealth. It's not even about wealth. It's about responsibility. It's about saying I'm a man. So yeah, I think it's a joke. However, that's just my thoughts. You comment your thoughts below as well. And don't forget, ask your questions, comment them below. Aaron Bennett, Samuel, can you turn a lease option agreement into a HMO? And if so, what are the regulations around it? Yes, you can. The regulations around it are just the same as the regulations when you're buying a HMO. So the licensing, the planning, it's all the same. If you're doing a lease option agreement, you just need to make sure that there is not a mortgage on the property that prohibits you from doing it as a HMO. So that's the big thing to check. Ronald Deschain, can you explain more about Section 24 tax? Section 24 tax is a tax that was put in for landlords that own properties in their personal name that says that they cannot anymore claim their mortgage payments, their interest payments, back as tax deductible, which is a big problem. So the ways around it are to buy through a limited company or to buy a property which the use is serviced accommodation, so you get commercial rates. But yeah, Section 24 was a real pain. They announced it some years ago, but they phased it in until 2020. And you know, a lot of people were thinking they were going to reverse it, but they never did reverse it. But what they did was, instead of reversing it, that they always have loopholes. So the loophole is to buy through a company. And what most people do is they whinge about it. Oh man, they just did this change, and they focus on the problem. Oh, look at this, bro. Whereas what rich people do is they find the loophole. You know, poor people, by the way, and I'm not talking necessarily just about your bank, I'm talking about your mindset. Poor-minded people focus on the problem, whereas rich-minded people focus on the solution. So there's always solutions around these taxes and things. All right, Razvan Gabriel, can you get a personal loan and use it to buy a house within a limited company? If it's a personal loan, that would usually mean that the purpose of the loan is for personal reasons. Buying a property through a limited company, renting it out, is not personal reasons, it's an investment reason. So, no, you can't do that. I mean, I know a lot of people that do it and just, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? That if you say to a bank, can you give me a 20 grand to get married? They'll give you the 20 grand to get married, but then if they find out that you actually didn't use it to get married, you actually only had a £2,000 wedding after all, and you used the 18,000 to invest, then they'd be like, oh, you can't do that. That's fraud. It's like, fraud? What, having a cheap wedding and then using the money to invest? But these are the rules. I don't make them up, I just follow them. So yeah, no, you can't do that. Whenever you get a loan, you always need to make sure that the purpose of the loan, you use it for that purpose. If there's no purpose, then it's no problem. Sergio, where's the best place to get investors for joint ventures? 60 to 70,000 pounds, apart from you on December. Haha, you're gonna see me December at the crash course. I mean, listen, I do give a lot of money away. Like last year, I gave £1 million, £1 million of my own money. I gave away to my associates, students, whatever. They then invest it. I'm not really looking to do that so much these days because I got so many deals of my own going on. But the best place for investors, I mean, the crash course is a good start. You're going to be around hundreds of investors. You need to add value to people. I don't know who you are, Sergio. I've never heard of you before. So if I haven't heard of you, probably lots of people haven't heard of you. You need to get known. How do you get known? Get people's attention, add value, help people, put yourself on the map. Get such good deals. Put them out there that people can't not invest in your deals. Make yourself investable. I'm sure you'll find some people at the crash course. I'll see you there, bro. Dan Goodwin. How much should I set aside to furnish a HMO? I'm looking at around a 3-bed currently and want to factor furnishing so I don't screw myself over. Depends on the HMO, how big it is. You say it's a 3-bed. If it's just a small 3-bed HMO, 2 or 3 grand. It also depends how high end you want to go. You know, are you gonna pay for flat packers? That's another factor you might forget. You know, you get all the stuff from IKEA and then you're like, damn, now I need to pack it up. But I don't really know how to do it. I'll pay somebody. So, you know, generally speaking, for like a 3 or 4-bed HMO, you're talking a few £1,000s, I would say, to get a decent, good standard. Razvan Gabriel, are you only buying houses in city centres? Would a HMO work if it's, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes away from the centre? No, I'm not only buying houses in centres. However, HMOs only work in centres. HMOs only work where there's people around, there's buzzing, there's shops, there's jobs, occupations. That's where HMOs work. 10 to 15 minutes, depends what the city is. If it's 10 to 15 minutes away from London, you're going to be just fine. 10 to 15 minutes away from Birmingham, you'll be okay. 10 to 15 minutes away from Middlesbrough, no. You need to be like 10-minute walk away. So, depends. I would say you're best off doing market research by speaking to some HMO management companies in that particular area and finding out. Neddy, how do you get a mortgage on your first property investment if it's a HMO? It appears lenders want landlord experience. Yeah, most lenders do want some landlord experience before they'll start letting you buy, you know, big HMOs and stuff. There are some lenders that will let you buy a property and rent it out as a small multi-let, like room by room, but you are very restricted. So speak to a mortgage broker, get them to check all the different lenders, but maybe consider starting off with your first investment as a single let. Chris Gravelis. Yo, Samuel, appreciate your videos and also love how much you put your trolls in their place. I try sometimes. I haven't got time though, so you need to do that for me, Chris. If you see them, you just jump on them. I'm subscribed and I always smash the like button. Well, in that case, Chris, you're awesome. You should come around my house for dinner. I got 2 questions for you. Another YouTuber said that investors shouldn't do too many BRRR, buy, refurbish, refinance, rent, deals, as you might find yourself too highly leveraged. Would you be able to explain what this means? And what are the dangers of being too highly leveraged? Yeah, I would probably have to nicely, kindly disagree with the other YouTuber. I don't know what the context that they said it was, but what that person probably meant was, if you're doing, the thing is, no, I don't agree with them at all. Because if you're doing BRRR deals, the whole point is you're buying a property and you're pushing the value up. And then you're getting a new mortgage, 75% loan to value against the new value. So you've got a 25% stake in that property of your own money, even though you pulled all your money out because of the way you've structured it. So depends on what you consider highly leveraged. I don't consider 75% loan to value as particularly highly leveraged. What the risk is if you own lots of houses and the banks effectively don't own, but they've got 75% loan against the value of the house. That's what 75% loan to value means. And then the value drops by, say, 25%. Suddenly you've got no equity in the house, which means that if you were to sell it, you'd make nothing on it. So that's what it would mean by no equity. Or if it drops even further down, then you're in negative equity. But I don't think houses are going to drop that low. And even if they do, I'm not too worried because I'm not worried about being in negative equity. I'm worried about running out of cash flow. So if the properties drop down and I'm still getting my rent, which of course I will be, my mortgage hasn't gone higher, I'm chilled. I'm good. You can fix interest rates for 5, 10 years. So I would disagree. I would very much disagree. And you had a second question. This will be the last one now. So let's see. When viewing houses and making offers, how do you work out how much the refurb of a house might cost? Good question. As a newbie, should I always have a builder come out on viewings, or is there a formula that you use to come up with a rough figure for refurb costs? So Chris, there is a formula, yes. It's not, again, I do run training programs, where I go through in great detail how to work out the costs and stuff. However, if you're not a builder, just as a normal person, I consider myself as just a normal person because yes, I've worked on a building site. I used to be a plasterer. I've been in property for 12 years. I've got a pretty good idea how much things cost, but I miss stuff and I'm not sure because I'm not a building surveyor. I miss stuff. I'm just an investor. So the first thing is I would get good and learn how much things generally cost. However, if you can't do that, it's not practical to bring a builder to every viewing. No builder's just going to want to come out and be your wingman and give you a ballpark figure of every house that you look at. They're not going to want to do that. So my suggestion would be to ask the estate agent what they think the rough quote might be. How much do they reckon this is going to cost? And then they might be like, I reckon about 10 grand, but I'm not really sure. And you go, yeah. Well, look, I'll put my offer forward, but obviously subject to a survey. I'll have to get a builder out and a surveyor out. So I'll put my offer forward at X, and then they'll accept. Then once you've had your offer accepted, then send a builder and a surveyor and everything out based on what they thought and, so that's generally what I would say, but there's no black or white, right or wrong answer. Also, depending on the area, depends on the quotes as well. London, of course, is going to be much more expensive than if you're up north. I can do a whole refurb on a house for like 5 to 10 grand if I go really far up north. Whereas you'd probably struggle to do, in the house that I live in, geez, that wouldn't touch the kitchen, so that's why I can't just say this is how much a kitchen costs. This is because it really, really varies. But I hope that advice was helpful. And guys, I'm here every day. I'm answering your questions every week. On a Sunday, I do his Q&A, and then on every Wednesday, I interview somebody who's my success student, someone that's gone through the training, and then I interview them every single week and they share their journey. If you have become financially free from my training, then why don't you reach out? Go to winnersonawednesday.com and put your story in or fill out the form and we'll get you on the channel. How cool would that be? If you'd like to one day be sat here with me sharing your story on Winners on a Wednesday, but you aren't financially free yet, then I would suggest coming to the Property Investors Crash Course. It all starts with the crash course. I'll leave in the description, I'll leave a link where you can come for free. Isn't that amazing? And don't forget to watch more videos. Don't forget to comment your questions below and I'll answer them next week. Thanks for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.